good morning, H-Town. What it do? What's good? We are back. It is yours truly, Just Dave, here on Houston's Inspiration Station, Praise 92.1. And before we get started, I just got to say thank you. Man, thank you, everybody, for always tuning in, especially those of you tuning in live. Like, those them real supporters, them down for the cause, ride or die. I mean, I got love for everybody on YouTube. Like, you guys are amazing. I appreciate everybody for always sharing and liking and all the amazing comments we've been getting. It's amazing, man. It's amazing to see the beginning stages of something that you dreamed about, so many years. So, Houston, thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, today, I've got something really, really special for y'all. All right. This is something that I've been begging for, talking about for a very, very long time. I've got my good friend, my homie Max from the Greasy Spoon in the building. Man, thank you for waking up with me, man.
Nah, no problem, Dave, man. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
No, absolutely, man. Like I said, we've been talking about this for a minute, man. I've been trying to get you in the building.
We here now.
Yes, we made it nice and early. My boy woke up early, bright and early for me. But, that ain't nothing new for you. That's what entrepreneurs do, right?
You're right, man. We got to do what we have to do.
Man.
I'm just excited to be here. I've been following you, and, you're doing some great things in the city, in our communities. And so I'm just, glad to be a part of the movement and, at this ground level, excited to see where it goes.
Absolutely, man. Well, man, I appreciate all the support, man. And I'm excited to be a part of the movement that you got going on, man. You're doing some amazing work in the city. And we're going to talk about that, man. We're going to talk all about that. First of all, I got to say special thank you to Latoria.
Shout out Latoria.
The guru. She's always behind the scenes pulling strings for setting this up, man. Yeah. I really, really appreciate her. But before we get started, let me say this. Because I'm a fan, right? I'm a huge fan. And I know when we talk about being a fan, a lot of times we talk about entertainers, we talk about athletes, right? We talk about, actors and actresses, but bro, I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of people who do good business. I love entrepreneurs. I love dope stories, and that's what we're all about here at the Still Save Show. Is we sit down with some of the most influential people who have really dope stories of change and transformation, and we try to break down the breakthrough. But bro, I'm a huge fan, so if I geek out for a little bit, you gotta
you just said something right there. You gotta break down and break through.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But do me a favor, man, for those who probably have never heard of you, like the one or two people, you know what I'm saying, out there, give me the Max Greasy Spoon, in 60 seconds or less, man. 60 seconds or less. Who is Max?
Max is a father of three beautiful children, Mahari, Marley, and Max Kristen, 2 girls and 1 boy. Max is a son. Max is a brother. Max is what they used to call Jesus freak,
Come on.
Like, I love the Lord. And so, my family, my faith, and then my commitment to the community and making other people better is what Max is about. I'm a serial entrepreneur, is how they coin it. I started at 19 years old. I'm 38 years old now. I'll be 39 in a couple months or so. So
you've been around the block for doing this thing for almost 20 years.
I know, right? I'm a vet. Yeah. So, but more than anything now, Max is really, I'm about leadership. I'm about building other people. I'm about living a life that's filled with purpose. And so I'm just excited to be here another day, to live out my God-given purpose.
Yeah. And I clearly seeing you do that, man, not just on social media, but the events that we've had the privilege of participating in together. It's always about service, man. I see you out there grinding. I see you out there stunting too. Y'all probably seen him riding around in the roads. He's a modest dude. He hates it when I do that. But I also see you out there in the community, giving back, right? Serving, always looking for to help the next man, man? Where did that spirit of service come from?
I was brought up as a kid seeing my family. My family is one of, Houston's. To me, I'll say this: you're not supposed to speak highly of yourself, but I can speak highly of my family,
Come on,
right?
of course.
One of Houston's gems, and as long as I can remember, my family has been a part of um, the faith community in the city, from the church into politics, to just fighting for those who are the last, the least, and the lost, restoring hope into communities that desperately need it. And so I've seen my family, my uncle, my grandfather, my mom, my dad, um, all of my uncles, my aunts. They really are connected to the city and to the community and to our plight as people. And so, I had to go to everything because I didn't have a choice, right?
Got drugged
I
to
had
church.
to, I had to go to church. I was at church 3 or 4 days a week. When we went out into the community to, do the whole evangelism, and you know, I was there, and so I've seen the plight, but I've also seen God move,
Mm.
and so me being able to see how someone can be hopeless, broke, or poor, in poverty, depressed, and see how my family and others are able to be a beacon of light into their lives. It made me want that. It made me want to be able to put a smile on people's face. It made me want to be able to serve.
Yeah.
It made me want to be able to be about something that's bigger than myself.
Mm.
And so from a kid, doing that over and over and over and over and over, it became a part of me.
Yeah,
It became a part of my psyche. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, And so it just carried on to where I'm now able to do a lot independently on my own now. It's just a blessing to continue on the tradition of being a servant.
Mm. Oh, man, and you're in that industry, right? That
Right.
food and beverage industry, the restaurant industry, where the key to success is really service, right?
Right.
Especially in our day and age, like if you ain't got good customer service skills, man, listen, you can have the best food in the world,
Right.
which you guys clearly do, right? Over at the Greasy Spoon. Tell me a little bit about the Greasy Spoon, and then we'll break it down and go back and talk about how it started. But man, what is the Greasy Spoon? What do you guys offer? Why is I keep hearing the Greasy Spoon, seeing you on TV, seeing this. Like, what's so special about the Greasy Spoon?
I mean, honestly, it's a lot of great restaurants in the city, and the Greasy Spoon Soul Food Bistro is my first um, independent restaurant project that I've opened, where I solely, own it. Uh, I'm able to. I have 100% control over it. It's not the first restaurant venture for me, but it's the first solo venture. And so, we serve, of course, all your traditional soul food items, your oxtails and smothered
Let's stop
pork
right there for a
chops.
second. Hold on. The oxtails, man, listen, y'all. Like, there's something special about those oxtails. Like, you must have, like, Big Mama in the back praying over the oxtails. Like, that's the secret, right? Like, because there's something special about
Man,
the oxtails.
what's funny is, the oxtails are the number one seller, Dave. I'm not going to lie. I sell thousands of pounds of oxtails, like, on a regular basis. It's crazy. But I honestly, when you get to a certain level, as far as like restaurants, you can't you know that you want to have it where it's like Big Mama in the back, right? But you have to scale, and so people don't realize now. I really wanted to be it's kind of like I want to stay small
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
order to be able to, like, we put in the hours and hours and hours. But at some point, when you have thousands of people coming in every week, you have to figure out how to do that while still maintaining, you know, uh, that Big Mama feel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that Grammy feel. That Grammy is my grandmother. That's
Come
who
on.
is the cook in my family. So Grammy, shout out to Grammy, man.
Is
That's my
that where
grandmother.
like maybe some of the inspiration behind some of the concepts y'all have
Oh
at the
yeah, for
restaurant came from?
sure, for sure. Carol Dixon, thank you so much. She made me promise that I would never sell her recipes as far as make profit
Yeah.
off of them, but the inspiration and then me tweaking some stuff
Mm-hmm.
to where it's not exactly how she does it. I'm still in the clear,
Yeah.
but
He's like, I sampled it. Like,
yeah, yeah. So she was like, Max, it's for the family. Don't make money off of it. I want to keep something sacred. But nevertheless, Greasy Spoon is my baby, and I've been blessed to have much success in a very quick, amount of time.
yeah.
I'm going on 3 years this March of being open, February, March of being open, and I got the third location opening next month.
Yeah.
And so it's just been a beautiful ride, and I'm excited for where it's going because I have plans to be all over this country.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. We've talked about some of those plans, and the thing I love about you, Max, is when you share with me plans, literally like weeks later, like they're in full motion. You know, I sit down with a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and you know how it is. People dream and they tell you their
Right.
plans, and it's like, okay, cool, cool. But you have actions behind those plans. There's usually steps and there's plan. Like before you reveal something, you already got some things in motion.
Right,
You
right,
know what I'm
right.
saying? And I,
I don't know who is the author of this saying, but I saw Usher say this a while back. He said he was doing an interview, and he said, "Don't just be a dreamer,
don't just be a dreamer.
be a striver. Strivers achieve what dreamers believe."
Mm,
And so dreaming is one step, but you can't stop there. You have to strive.
yeah.
That's that action that you were just talking about, and because strivers are the ones who achieve what dreamers only believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time you hear me say something, I've been probably up, nights, burning the midnight oil, studying, doing research and development, being thorough in my thought process and my strategizing and my praying about it. And so if I talk about it, it's already in the bank.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's calculated.
Yeah,
it's
done.
calculated.
It's
Man.
done.
It's calculated. Because you said something earlier, one of my favorite words, which is scale. The ability to scale something, man. And we could talk all day long about what it means to scale this and scale that. And I think it's incredibly powerful watching you scale your business because it's as a restaurant, the ability to scale and go from one location to another location to this location.
Right.
And each location is different.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
have their
for
own
sure.
unique soul. Even though
Right.
it's underneath the Greasy Spoon brand, it's not like some cookie cutter
That's right.
approach. Like
Right.
I've been to both on the north side and the one in Pearland, and I'm
Right.
looking forward to the one in
Midtown. Yeah.
But they all each have their own unique soul. Was that on purpose?
Man, I when I did the Greasy Spoon on the north side, which is the first location, COVID hit like a couple of months after I opened. And then of course a couple months after COVID hit, then I got hit, with the cancer diagnosis. But and so I never planned on opening that location on the north side. I had that location to use as a commercial kitchen for corporate accounts that I had before I even opened up the Greasy Spoon. I
Really?
had corporate accounts throughout, like a lot of these buildings downtown, Energy Corridor, and so I would go in every day. My company would go in every day, Monday through Friday, and provide lunch and basically sell lunch to the tenants within the building, or the people who working in the different oil buildings or whatever it was. And so I needed a kitchen to be able to provide all of that food on a daily basis. So I found that little restaurant on the north side, And after having it for about a year, I said, you know what? I'm a businessman. This doesn't make sense for me to have this kitchen. I'm using it from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then it's closed the entire day. But it's a restaurant. But I just needed the kitchen, and so I said, let me maximize the real estate and just go ahead and open it up. The Greasy Spoon, which is what I had been planning on for like the previous 3 years.
Wow.
That's how long I planned the Greasy Spoon. So when people see it now, they saw it and it went, blew up or whatever the case may be. It came out of nowhere. Nah, this been alive,
Yeah,
for 3 years.
It's like a seed, right?
Yeah.
Like you plant a seed.
That's right.
And you don't really see it.
That's right.
After you plant it, you bury it really.
That's
so
right.
There's almost like a death process that takes place because you
Right.
bury the seed, and then what I'm hearing is you started watering that seed, right? You were providing sunlight, perfecting the craft. I'm sure as you were like serving meals to the businesses without offering it to the general public, right?
Right.
So you're still learning things,
Right.
Doing
Right.
research. I hear a
Right.
lot of research going
Right.
on, and then next thing you know, boom, you sprout, and then it's ready. But there were some things that took place
Man,
before it actually came to fruition.
it's like the bamboo tree. You know about the bamboo tree, right?
Yep.
And so, that's one of my favorite, Chinese proverbs where, it's the bamboo tree grows to be the largest tree there is, but for 5, 6 years, the seed doesn't even break ground. And if you're not careful, you'll look up and come back and check the seed out, in a month or 2 months or a year, and you don't see it doing anything, and you come back and 2 years later it's still nothing. 3 years later it's still nothing. And you can give up on that seed and you can walk away from it, not realizing that it was in year 5 that seed broke ground. And the reason why it took so long is because what needed to happen underneath the ground was far more important for what that seed was going to grow into once it got, above ground. And so the bamboo tree grew to be the largest tree within like the first, couple of years. And you're like, whoa, how did it grow to be 80 feet tall? Within 2 years. Well, it's because it took 5 years underground for that seed to strengthen and to be able to create a foundation to be able to uphold the growth
Come on, dog.
that it was gonna, be expecting. And so sometimes, like in my case, I was disappointed at times and I wanted to give up at times over the course of those years where I was in between restaurant projects, and it's like, man, I really, really want this. I really need to do this for me, just to say that I can do it, for me. And so years are going by, and it appears as though nothing is shaking, and here it is, all of a sudden, at that time that God, saw fit,
Yeah.
boom.
Mm.
And it's like, whoa, like, how did this happen? How did I go from opening up and then within the first 6 months, I was voted, black, best new restaurant in Houston by Black Restaurant Week. And then, it was just like one thing after another. I had lines down the sidewalk.
Yep. I mean, you were getting invited to serve backstage with some of the most, notable
Right.
people in
And
the
so
city.
it's like, hey, man, like this Greasy Spoon, these people came out of nowhere. Nah, you just didn't see the seed was underground.
Come on.
And so it's been a blessing, and I'm glad I opened that location up on the north side because it created an opportunity to allow the city to get to know us, know the brand. And of course, at that point, I saw how many people were coming from all over the city.
Right.
And so Pearland was me understanding research and knowing my audience and knowing my numbers. I'm like, oh, Pearland, they lit. They coming all the way. They driving an hour to the north side to eat. 30% of my customers were driving from Pearland. That's a 2-hour commute just driving back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Just to get
so
some food.
it's like they planning. It's like a day trip. And so I said, nah, let me do something special for them. And so I decided to open up in Pearland next, and it's from day one. it's been
Man,
crazy out
I don't
there.
know if y'all was paying attention. He just dropped some major, major gems in that short period, and he just broke it down, y'all. He just broke it down about the faith that it takes to break ground, right? The faith that it takes. I think I just
Yeah,
got the title for the
yeah,
show
yeah,
right there, dog.
yeah. That's
Nah,
it.
man. But tell
So,
me this,
so
bro, because yes, we see the success. We see you with the celebrities, all this other stuff that people kind of see as successful, right? The awards, you were on the Food Network,
right,
right? But you haven't always been at the top of the mountain, bro.
right,
You mentioned earlier that when you started, it was right during COVID, right? Or COVID hit shortly after. Not only that, you were diagnosed with cancer, right?
right.
I mean, you had every reason, bro, every reason to throw in the towel, to give up. And people wouldn't have tripped. People would have been like, oh, yeah, yeah, it's cool. We going to, he definitely got a pass, right?
Right,
Even with that pass, because life really tried to take you out.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
right,
know if you really sit down and think about that often, but and sometimes I think that that's how we know we're on to something special is when life really tries to test us, right?
right.
And tell me a little bit about that, bro. Because, man, I wake up sometimes and am inspired. Days when I feel like, I don't want to wake up or I'm about to give up, I'm like, no, if Max can do it, I can do it.
Man, honestly, just being transparent, it was scary. And I like to look at myself as a person that has a bank full of faith,
Mm.
you know. Um, and I've been trained to strengthen my faith for years, you know. And so when I got hit with the personal challenges in the midst of after finally getting that seed breaking ground,
It's like,
and
we
then it's
finally here, y'all. We finally
like
made it, and this is
then,
what
then
happens.
COVID hits, which I'm like, okay, I'm not really tripping on that, like this is probably like my 15th business at the time, and so business like stuff happens, right? And so I figure out a way to get through COVID, and come out on top. Honestly, I was blessed to be one of the thriving businesses within that COVID period,
Yeah, a lot of people
where
didn't
other
make it.
people didn't make it. Which I don't even. I just thank you. I just thank you, God, because big giants were having to shut down, big corporations, and so it was a blessing. But then, um, when I got hit with the cancer just out of the blue, I was 36 years old, so of course I wasn't thinking about that. Um, that really messed me up because now I can't control this. Business, you can control that to a certain extent. It's numbers, it's money, it's systems, right? But this I can't control. This is one of the first times in my life that I don't have control, over this. The only thing that's going to get me through this is what's in my faith bank.
Mm.
Not what's in my not what's at my banks,
Yeah, yeah, that was
not
bank
what's in the
bank.
safe, not who I know. I know a lot of people, have a lot of great
You
relationships.
can't call in no favors and be like, hey,
Nobody
bro,
can
can
do
you take care of this
anything
cancer
for
for
me.
me?
So now it's like it's just me and God, right? And this is one of the first times in my life that I really had to just sit down and just be still and be silent and not be the person that everybody is calling on, not being the person that everybody needs. Like, I can't help anybody right now. I can't even help myself.
Mm.
And so it was a scary time for me. And you said that I had every reason to give up, but I had three reasons not to give up, and that was Mahari, Marley, and Max, my kids. And so, as a start, those were the reasons why I said, okay, God, you brought this to me. You never bring me you never bring me to something that you're not prepared to bring me through. And so I trust that whatever reason we're going through this, um, um, you get the glory out of it. And I started fighting, and it wasn't easy by far. I got put on a sideline from my own business that had just opened.
Just open too.
So that was scary because now I'm thinking about the 40 or 50 people that I have on staff who have families and who have responsibilities, and their leader, the coach, the person that's able to make this all happen can't do anything. So I have to trust them to take care of my stuff, my business, right? While I try to take care of my health.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing because the city poured out so much love and support during that time. And we flew right through that. But uh, you know, that was probably the scariest moments of my life, and I still deal with it.
Yeah,
Like
of
you
course.
gotta, even psychologically. I still deal with the fact I just had my checkups a couple months ago, and everything came back clear. Thank God. But just even knowing that every day you wake up, it's a possibility that this cancer can come back, or
Yeah.
every day that I wake up, or it's nice that I don't even get to go to sleep till wake up because I'm still in pain,
Of course.
from the surgeries and stuff, because I had to get a lot of stuff done. So I had major surgeries to remove the cancer,
Yeah.
and so my body will never be the same. And so my people see me every day, and whether it's riding down the street, or at the restaurants, or just out and about, not realizing like the actual struggle that I still deal with on a daily basis. And it's me understanding and being more consumed with purpose that's allowing me to understand and deal with the pain. And so it's always pain, always purpose in our pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's up to us to decide how we choose to look at it. And so I choose to look at it like, okay, God, if you trust me enough to put this on me, then I'll trust, you to get the glory out of it, because, I'm living out the purpose that you have for my life.
There is purpose in your pain. I don't know about y'all, man, but I was blessed by that. Like, don't waste your waste. There is purpose in your
Yeah.
pain. I think the thing that I love most about that, Max, is you said your faith bank was already full before you went through the trial,
Right.
before you endured the cancer diagnosis or the challenges. It's like you were already not necessarily prepared, because you never can be prepared for news like that or what's to come. But as an entrepreneur, we know
Right.
like this isn't an easy journey. Like
Right.
entrepreneurship. I have a coach of mine, David Shands, and we used to go to schools all the time and talk to kids, and we would try to convince them not to be entrepreneurs. And the reason why is because if I, a human being, can talk you out of being an entrepreneur, then you're not ready for
You're not
this.
ready.
You're not ready for the
Right.
challenges that come
I
along,
like
the
that.
personal stuff that go on behind the scenes of being buried and waiting 5 years
Right.
before the
Right.
bamboo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, man, there is purpose in your pain. And I got my homie Max from the Greasy Spoon, and we've been breaking down the breakthrough. I don't know about y'all, man, but I'm just like, yo, listen, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Man, dog. So you just got through sharing with us about how cancer tried to take you out, right? The enemy had he took his best shot. He took his best shot, bro, and you stood up on your own 2 feet, man, and it looks like, right, that you just valiantly, stood up against it and overcame, right? But like, to be honest, I'm sure that there were some nights, some weeks, some days where you probably felt like throwing in the towel and just being like, "Hey, listen, this is too much, man. I don't know if I can handle." Did you ever feel like giving up?
Dave, I went through hell.
Mm.
I'll be honest. And a lot of times people see you and they think that you're a strong person and you're able to just handle whatever comes at you. But that was a hellacious season, in my life. It was times when I couldn't even, uh, after surgery, I couldn't walk for for several weeks. I was just bedridden at home. Had to have people to take care of me, to do the simplest thing. I remember uh, I was in my loft downtown, and it's windows all around it, right? And so I'm downtown, and one point I have my cane, and at that point I'm actually able to use the cane to walk,
Yeah.
and that was even a process. But
But let me paint the picture because yes, you're an entrepreneur and we know how active a lifestyle that requires, right? But you were pretty like fit, like in
yeah,
shape. You were active, bro. Like you were
yeah,
always on the move, and to be bedridden and to have to learn how to walk again, like
right.
I know that had to do something to your mental.
Yeah, I mean, I lost 60 pounds within a few short months, and I was working out twice a week, I mean, twice a day. I was I
You making
looked
me
pretty
feel
good.
bad over here. I'm like,
and so to be in a position now where I'm completely dependent on other people to take care of me, um, fully dependent. And at the point when I was able to get enough strength just to walk from the bed to the window, I would stare out the window and see people walking downtown, whether they're going to work or walking their dog. And I used to just pray, like, God, I just want to be able to just walk regular. I just want to be able to walk from here, to the park. I'm 36 years old, 37 years old, and I'm just asking God if you can just bless me to be able to walk again. I have kids, that I have a little boy. It was probably 2 years old at the
you
time,
know what
one
kind of
years
energy
old,
they got.
and so I can't do anything as a young man at this point. And so, um, and that's just a snippet, a snapshot uh, of what I went through that gives me chills to this day when I think about it. But it also gives me consolation to know um, the power of God, because when you start thinking, you start thinking,
Mm, mm.
and so
Say that one more time.
when you start thinking, you start thinking, and so I'm thankful um, to know God at a deeper level,
Yeah, yeah.
because the things that I prayed about during that season were not the things that I prayed about prior to, and they
Right.
haven't even been the things that I've been praying about in this season. You know, that season was, I just want to be able to go to the restroom regular.
Mm.
I just want to be able to stand straight up without being bent over.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the surgeries that I had in my stomach area and not being healed. And so I just want to be able to go to sleep for 4 hours straight without being in pain and waking up in the middle of the night.
It's amazing
And
the
so
things
you don't
we.
think about all of the other stuff. Life really it becomes very clear. Like, you're not thinking about cars, you're not thinking about houses, you're not thinking about the restaurants you're gonna eat, shopping, going to the galleria. You're not thinking about what other people care about. You're not. Only thing you care about at that time is what matters the most, and that's your family, the people who love you, the people who are there with you no matter what, and 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 ultimately just some kind of way, Lord, get glory out of this.
Mm.
You can't get glory if I don't start walking again.
Come on.
I start talking.
Like,
I start. Me.
like, come
I'm
on,
gonna
God.
talk. I'm
Like,
gonna talk to you. I'm gonna throw the word back at you. And so it's like, how you gonna get glory out of this? You can't. Look, what we doing?
uh-huh,
You
uh-huh.
know. And so, and I saw, you know, um, the the favor of God on my life, and my business, of course, was able to still thrive. But at the same time, I saw me becoming a new person.
Wow.
And so coming out of, my cancer journey was far more advantageous to me as a person,
Yeah, yeah.
as a man, as a father, uh, than what I was when I went into it. And that's the blessing out of it. And now I've been getting hit up by people who I don't even know, through social media and whatever it means, saying, "Hey, look, I've been diagnosed with cancer. You don't know me. I don't know you, but I followed your journey,
Yeah.
and you inspired me. Can you help walk me through this?"
Wow.
And
Cause tell me
so,
this, what if you don't mind sharing, like what kind of cancer did you have?
so I had, it, so it's colon rectal cancer, and so my cancer was right at the junction of my colon and rectum,
Mm-hmm.
and so honestly, some paperwork it says colon, some
Yeah,
says
yeah.
rectum,
Because I
but
mean, when you
it's
think about it, bro, like especially like we're young, we're about the same age, right?
right.
And we think of cancer, and you were fit, you were active, you were living a healthy lifestyle. I'm sure that was nowhere near on your radar. And I'm thinking about me. I'm like, dang man, I ain't been to the doctor in I don't know how long. And we about the same age, but is
Yeah.
this about the time that men or guys like us should be actually going to the doctor and getting these checkups, dog?
And honestly, I wasn't privy to any of this information. I didn't know about it prior to me going through it, and so I did learn that okay, around 40 years old, we should start getting colonoscopies and having other tests done. But now, as days go on, it's happening to persons younger and younger and younger, and it's not just men, women too. And so, I would just say, 35, 30, 35, start getting checked,
Yeah.
start kind of paying attention to certain things, to make sure that we're staying on top of this as a community, because, you know, um, it's it's our ignorance that puts us in situations where we get behind the curve on it. If had I known to, hey Max, go to the doctors when I first started having some symptoms, I was having symptoms almost a whole year prior to
Wow.
ever going to the doctor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just dealt with the symptoms,
Right. Just thinking you're supposed to
thinking
like
that
grind it out.
I,
Like
yeah,
I'm a,
I'm a hustler. I'm a grinder. I look at situations like, okay, this is what I have to deal with. Okay, I'm gonna get through it.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the only thing I'm thinking about. Not realizing, hey, nah, you not just gonna get
You
yourself through
can't
this.
force your way through
You
this
know,
one, not by
yeah, you
might
got,
nor by strength, but by my spirit.
yeah. So it's stage 3.
Wow,
Hello,
man.
how you
Man,
doing,
man,
Max?
fellas. Well, if
Yeah,
y'all listening, or ladies, if you're married, tell your husbands. Like I know they say 40, but hey, you might want to start thinking about it around age 35.
yeah,
Listen, it ain't
yeah,
the
for
doctor
sure,
is nothing to be scared of, man. That's a resource. God has given us those resources,
for
man.
sure.
Man, before we wrap up today, man, you've inspired me so much with what you've said. I saw a post the other day that said prayer is a part of my business model. Prayer is a part of my business strategy, right? And we live in a day and age where there's such a huge focus on like grind culture, and you just kind of alluded to it a little bit, where it's like I sleep when I die,
Right.
like you know what I'm saying, and all this other thing, like I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right,
I'm
right,
just gonna
right,
grind.
right. No
But
sleep.
yeah,
Yeah,
bro, and
yeah.
and 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 there's some benefit to that, right? I'm not gonna
Right,
lie,
right,
right? I'm not saying that we need to go out there and be lazy now, right?
right.
But faith without works is dead. What I've seen is in these latter days is your works have been fueled by your faith. How important has your faith been in the functioning and the success of your business?
Man, faith is everything for me. Like I mentioned a lot of times to people who may know who certain persons are in my family, and may for some reason think that I was handed something or I inherited money, which I did not. But like I mentioned to you, I did inherit a bank account, that was constructed to be filled up with faith, I should say. My family exposed me to the word of God, since I was a kid. And of course, you don't know growing up, you going to church so often and you studying the word and you having to, you know, participate in all these different programs and attend all these different conferences and different things like that. You don't realize while you're going through that, you actually are building, your faith to a level to where, like you say, when it is time for you to make certain moves, you can't start preparing then. You can't.
You
It's
behind the
gotta
curve.
already be who you are.
Yeah.
You know. And so when I started, for instance, entrepreneurship around 19 years old, everything that I did because I didn't know I couldn't. I did it because I didn't know I couldn't. Right.
Wow.
And so
Like
that's a
that almost
profound
went over
place.
my head for a second, bro.
Yeah.
Like seriously, you did it because you like why not? Like
I
why
didn't
can't I?
I didn't know I couldn't. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to own a gas station at 23 years old. Like nobody told me I shouldn't own a gas station.
Yeah.
Like nobody said that, hey, that's not something that a young 23-year-old person does. Go and get a gas station. Right. And so, and that's just an example of something that's one of the business that I had at a young age, right? But it was because my faith, um, my I've been blessed to really, believe at a level in myself, and I've seen what God has done in the lives of the people around me and my family, and you know, being a PK, a preacher's kid, and then being, my uncle, being a pastor in the city and seeing everything about that is faith, right? From the church, to building and expanding, and so when I see my uncle's church, which is my church, go from a building across the street to some property right across the street where he purchased and built a multi-million-dollar building and didn't have the money to do it, but then seeing how God provided. So when you start seeing all these different things, then it gives you, affirmation and confirmation of the power of God,
Yeah.
and the benefits of faith. Um, the vision statement that I learned through the church, through my uncle Bishop Dixon, James Dixon, as for many years as I was a kid, um, was and it was a vision statement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, me, I'm a different kind of person. When I go to church, when if I hear different people speaking, or I hear the word, I take things literally.
Come on.
I don't just hear it and want to shout and have a good time and then go
Make you
back and
feel
need to
good.
come back. Nah, I'm about to take this and I'm about to go apply it, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out how do I make this happen. But it's make me like my vision statement is for God to I want to be a visible manifestation of the power of God and the presence of people for God's glory,
Come on.
and so for me it's like, okay, how do I become a visible manifestation of God in the presence of people? I mean, I gotta give him something to work with, you know.
I gotta be in the presence of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I gotta be in the presence, and then I gotta make sure you get glory, and
Come on.
so that's a recipe, that's a recipe for God to do something special in your life, because for one, you're making it the end goal is for him to get glory. So now just use me. I got to give you something to use though, and that's where I got to come in and do my part. I have to say, okay, I believe, I'm crazy enough to believe that you can do what it is that I'm believing
Yeah.
you to do in my life, right? And that's it for me. There's nothing, there's nothing that I feel like I can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how strong my faith is. And it reminds me of that fire truck, that fire story. It's an old Boy Scouts tale, right?
Yeah. Shout out
Um,
to the Boy Scouts.
yeah, it's an old Boy Scouts tale, and it talks about the fire that took flame over in California area. California have all those wildfires, and the fire spread, and it was just so much. It was uncontainable, right? That the fire departments in the area couldn't put it out. It was just too much. It just kept growing. And so it was towns that were around that major city, and it was, they were getting fire trucks to come from all these different towns to try to help put this fire out. And it was one fire truck that came from a town, and it made it to the city where the fire was, and they see all of these people like around surrounding the entrance of the town, basically because they had basically left because the fires took over, right? And they passed the people up in their little fire truck. And the people telling them, no, stop, 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 right? It's too big. Y'all can't do it. We couldn't do it. That's why we out here. Right? They kept going past the people and ended up in the middle of the fire. And they had to get out, of course, and start fighting the fire. And they literally fought the fire from the inside and put it out.
From the
And
inside out.
and so what happened was after everything was over, the news reporters, they all came and they were like, hey man, like what is wrong with y'all? Why what made you think that you could put out this fire? You know? And they said, what was going through your head, you know, when you came and passed they said, you know, they said they said, look, we have a $10,000 reward, you know, that we're going to give you this, you know, XYZ to give to your fire department. They said, what are you going to do with the money? And they said, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get these brakes fixed. They literally ended up in the middle of the fire because their brakes failed them. And sometimes in life we should have brake failures every now and then.
Yeah.
Where we don't allow something, because had they known,
they probably would have stopped.
They would have stopped had the brakes worked. Right? The brakes didn't work, which made them end up in a fire, which consequently allowed them to put the fire out. But they wouldn't have known they had the ability to do it unless they were inside in the middle
and
of
oftentimes God will cause a malfunction in our lives,
right,
because he knows where he's trying to get us, and it's somewhere that we're trying to run from. Right. And I can see that, man. I can see God causing some of our listeners today, myself included, that you may think, why is this happening to me, right? Why am I going through this? Like, what's the deal? Sometimes God will cause your breaks or anything else in your life that is prohibiting you from getting to where he's trying to get you.
Right.
He will cause the malfunction. And oftentimes we blame it on the enemy. We talk about the devil this and the devil that. No, God is trying to get you somewhere.
Right.
And yes, it may seem scary. Yes, you may be frightened. Yes, you probably feel like you're not qualified or you can't do it. But let God do what he does best. Right. Man, Max. Right. Yeah. The OG Max, the homie from the Greasy Spoon, dog. I could go on and on and on, but unfortunately we only got 4 more minutes. These are the kind of conversations me and Max have on the regular. Like, this is probably why we don't answer the phone that much, because I know if I talk to Max, it's going to be about an hour. You know what I'm saying? But before we go, Latoria would be highly upset at me if we didn't talk about the Fall Festival, the Gospel Brunch coming up on November what?
20th.
November the 20th.
Sunday, November the 20th. We're having the Fall Festival and the Gospel Brunch that we're doing with everybody here at Praise 92.1.
Let's go.
At the Pearland location. So this will be the first big, huge community event that we do at the Pearland location. Been so blessed for them to welcome us with open arms. And so this is just a way for the Greasy Spoon brand, myself, to give back to the community. We're going to have a huge carnival out there in front of the restaurant. Of course, the Praise Brunch is going to,
you know what I'm saying? Me
everybody, AV going to be there.
We like to eat,
you know,
bro.
We're going to have the music. We're going to have some artists. It's going to be just a fun time. So November 20th, 12 noon to 4 p.m. At the Greasy Spoon Pearland location. That's 10009 Broadway Street.
Say that one more time.
10009 Broadway Street. That's off of 288 in Broadway in Pearland. Y'all come out. Everything is gonna be free. So from the kids to the adults, have a good time, get some great food. Also, you know, be on the lookout. I have the new Midtown location that's I'm planning on opening in November. It's going to be a first of its kind as far as the Greasy Spoon brand. It's going to be an express location that'll be available for, pickup, to-go orders, online orders, delivery, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub. It won't be a full-service restaurant, but it will be one of those spots that you can get, you know, the Greasy Spoon taste, you know.
Hey, boys downtown, man, they just trying to
so
grab
everybody
and go,
downtown, Third Ward, Medical Center Heights. Now the Greasy Spoon is available for everybody in the heart of the city. So we look forward to that, and of course, come check us out at the Fall Festival, November 20th at the Greasy Spoon Paladin. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Nah, Max, I appreciate you, man, for being so transparent, so honest, so true, so authentic. Just being yourself, bro. You're such an inspiration to so many, myself included. Ladies and gentlemen, this is yours truly, Just Dave. Here at the Still Save Show, we have literally broken down another breakthrough. I hope you guys were blessed. I pray you guys will enjoy the rest of your weekend. We are out, ladies and gentlemen, here at Houston's Inspiration Station, Praise 92.1.